Huh. I like Champion of Chaos a lot. Lethrai Ranger might be better because it keeps you more open. It can go into Stone Scar and Feln. And Champion of Chaos, since the nerf, I guess, isn't quite as good in draft as it used to be. So maybe the pick is just Lethrai Ranger and not Champion of Chaos. I haven't played with it in draft since the nerf. Pre-nerf, though, I think it'd be a pretty easy Champion of Chaos. But now that it only becomes a 5-3, it's not quite as, I guess, oppressive to deal with if it does become a 5-3. Or, like, never becomes a 4-4. Yeah, it was ping last game. GG's. We're still cursed. We can't get good hands. It happens. We'll get out of the curse eventually. Yeah, Chaos is still good. I just think Lethrai Ranger is a better first pick. So I'm going to take it. Ooh, Oni Ronin versus Beastcaller's Amulet. This is the Stone Scar card, and this is the Feln card, essentially. But I think those are the options. I do love Oni Ronin, but we'll just stay on Shadow. You can still play this in Stone Scar. It's just much better in Feln. Sapphire Dragon, Champion of Glory, both in this pack. 2 commons taking over Sapphire Dragon is insane. This card is insane. Champion of Glory is really good, too. I love this card. This card's really hard for a lot of decks to beat. 3-3 Quick Draw Endurance is nuts. It makes me wish I was forcing Ricano. But I'm still going to take Sapphire Dragon, because it's Sapphire Dragon. Well, fuck me. I first picked 2 Shadow cards. Am I really supposed to take Dark Return here? And, like, stubbornly stick to that when I just got past 2 straight Champions of Glory? It's not too late to swap or anything. The rest of the pack is time cards. An uncommon and 2 commons got taken. It's Dark Return or Champion of Glory here. Like, do I drop everything and try and just spring into Ricano because I love Ricano? Let's just take Dark Return. And we'll see what happens. So now it's Feln Stranger versus Granite Acolyte. There's 2 other... I mean, there's Ricano colored cards coming through. There's no shadow cards in this pack. 4 picks in. That's a worrisome sign that there's no shadow cards in this pack. 4 picks in. It makes me a little nervous that even though I started on Shadow, I might end up abandoning it. But Granite Acolyte's good, but I don't think it's a good enough reason to pivot. Let's just take the Feln Stranger anyway here. Well, there's a plague in this pack, so screw everything. No, I mean an actual Shadow card, was I? Like, every pack has at least one of each faction's card. Guaranteed. So there was no actual mono Shadow card in that pack. You can play this in a Shadow deck. I just meant 4 picks in, there were no mono Shadow cards anymore. But there may have only been 1 mono Shadow card in that pack, so who cares? Stash versus Plague. I'm just going to take Plague. And now we get another Lethrai Ranger? Alright. That's a really good sign. 7th pick Lethrai Ranger makes me happy. So now we get, like, to Lethrai Ranger curve into Plague or Blast. I don't know what my second faction is yet. I don't care what it is. I could go Stone Scar Rifle Infiltrate. Or I could take Fledgling and maybe end up in Argentport. And I haven't seen a whole lot of Justice coming through this draft. Let's just take the Rifle. It's a pretty late Wisdom of the Elders. I'll happily grab that. And a Blast Pick Frostkin. Alright, we're gonna jump in on Feln here. And this is a really interesting pick. Because there's Desperado, which can take a little work to push through, but if you do, you kill an enemy unit. There's also Execute, which just kills an enemy unit. Now, of course, it has to be exhausted. So it's not really useful for, say, pushing through your infiltrate units. It's more for, all right, we're already racing, I get to execute it, or all right, I used Frostkin the last turn, I'm going to execute it the next turn. There's also a Cabal Recruiter, but I'd rather my infiltrate units come down a little bit before 4, just because I want to cast Frostkins and stuff on 4. I think I'm going to go with Desperado here instead of Execute. I don't know if that's correct. I think Execute's maybe a little more consistent, where Desperado's more powerful, and maybe I'm supposed to go for the consistent card instead, but no, I'm not going to. Soul Collector or a second Wisdom? Soul Collector's not at its best in film, but I can still play it. Yeah, we'll just play it. Ooh, I like Static Bolt, but there's also a Cobalt Acolyte, and we already have double Lethrai Ranger and a Desperado. I think we're going to just take that. I do like grabbing Static Bolts, especially when I know Primal's going to be pretty open. But I think the first Cobalt Acolyte is more important than the first Static Bolt. Ooh, Dark Return. I love Felm Banner. I really want to get Fixing, but I'm going to take Frostkins here. I mean, we have double Ranger Desperado already. I just think Frostkin's incredibly good. Nightblade versus Acolyte. We'll just take another Acolyte. All right, so we can push through our infiltrates now. We've accomplished that goal. And now we just need to put some meat on the bones, right? But this is a really nice start to Feln, and this pack is garbage. So we'll take the card that could be anything. Pilfer. This pack's also bad for us. So it looks like Shadow is not open in this direction. You really got to do that, buddy? We got a loud truck somewhere outside. It actually wasn't a truck. It's a van. I can't explain that one. I guess certain vans have obnoxious horns on them. Or backup noises. Yeah, we're getting no picks out of this. All right, well that's not great. There's a Levitate. Shadow's not open. This might be an issue. This pack is a really bad open for us as well. There's a Blackguard Sidearm, a Wisdom, an Eastwind Herald. The best cards by far are Outlaw and Chieftain. I could maybe try and splash Chieftain. There's a Back Alley Bouncer, a Magus. I could take a Magus. Most of my deck's pretty aggressive. It might be good to just have a good blocker that throws off my opponent's aggression. Sidearm's not bad either. I already have 2 Cobalt Acolytes, though, which are like Sidearms, but slightly better. So I don't know if I really need more ways to push through my Infiltrate units. I just need to find more Infiltrate units, really, is what's going on. So I think I'm more interested in getting some sort of units, but I already have double Frostkin Soul Collector at 4. It might just be Eastwind Herald, just to... The card can be impressive in spots. The most tempting card is Chieftain, but then I've got to figure out a way to, like, splash it. I don't want to. The card's good, I just don't know if it's worth splashing. So Herald versus Sidearm then becomes the question. I'll just take the Herald. I don't know. Ringmaster, ring-a-ding-ding. I can't pass that up. I love this card. Strangers and Bolt are probably better. Probably. Oh, Plague? Yes, please. Plagues just get better in multiples. They don't get worse in multiples, like some people might think. Yeah, we get Fixing here. Although I kind of need playables. I'm not going to complain too much about getting it. Well, we have this choice again. This time I'll opt for the Sidearm. Ooh, Raptor versus Frostkin versus... There's a Trailblazer as well, but I think I want Frostkin or Raptor. Raptor makes my amulet better. Having another Frostkin's nice, though. Yeah, let's go Raptor. Scaly one or Scheme. Let's just make sure we're okay on 2s before it becomes a problem. There's an Acolyte. Wow, that's a late Static Bolt. So we could have had 3 Static Bolts by now. Instead, I took really cool cards. So whatever. Windshaper or Execute. Well, we have 3 Cold Acolytes, so Windshaper is going to be buffing a lot of stuff. What's our removal look like, though, for big, scary things? Nothing. We have nothing to kill big, scary things. So that is an issue. So maybe the pick here is Execute instead. But I've already got an Eastwind Herald, a Twilight Raptor, 3 Cobalt Acolytes. I've just been so impressed with this card. And the 4-drop is a nice blocker. But I'm thinking the first Execute's more important than the Windshaper. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Execute in Feln, but that doesn't mean I won't play an Execute. You know, it's kind of a contingency plan for if plan A doesn't quite work out. It also does make Ringmaster better in a way. Yeah, we'll go with the safety pick. Ooh, Serpent Trainer or Frostkin. I think this deck wants Frostkin more than Serpent Trainer. Serpent Trainer is a good card, but we just passed up on the Windshaper. We already have plenty of other flyers because of Cold Acolyte. So it's really just this fragile 4-drop that isn't really helping me win a ton of races. It is a self-contained win condition, makes Beastcaller's Amulet a bit better, but I'd rather have a card that makes like my Rangers and other cards better, and I think Frostkin does that more than Serpent Trainer. There's also Feln Stranger, but meh. Well, this pack makes me sad. I don't really want to play any of these cards in my deck. No reason for a Direwolf Rampager. We already have 2 big 6-drops. I can just take Jotun Warrior. I think that's the card I'm most likely to play. I don't really want to play double Alk Blast. I think I'd rather have a Static Bolt Alk Blast split than double Alk Blast, no Static Bolt. And I don't see a reason to play Venom Fang Dagger in this style of deck. So we'll just take the butt. Another Frostkin? Okay. And here's a Serpent Trainer. Would I rather have a Levitate? No. Nice. Alright, Gorgon Fanatic, sweet. Ooh, Violent Gust is a great grab. We have triple Cobalt Acolyte, so in a pinch we can Cobalt Acolyte one of their units and Violent Gust it. We also have Levitate. This has got a pretty sleek, streamlined deck. No Blood Beetles, though. We ended up with 3 Feln Banners? Holy cow. Well, should be able to cast our spells. Let's make some cuts. I don't think we need Sidearm. Don't think we need Scaly Gruon. I'll still play Eastwind Herald, Feln Stranger. Eastwind Herald still wears Amulet very nicely. And then maybe Jotun Warrior or Soul Collector. I think I kind of want my units to have a more immediate impact than Soul Collector. I think I'd rather just have a 3/5 than this that potentially grows. But that could be wrong. Let's see here. So I'll have a lot of random units lying around between Cobalt Acolytes and Geral's Frostkins. Maybe I would rather still have the Soul Collector than Jotun Warrior. It's between one of those two. And then we're good. Then we're on 17 power. I also have 2 Plagues, so like that can lead to some insane stuff with Collector. It gives me a source of life gain that my deck currently lacks. Yeah, this deck looks great, so probably we're somehow going to find a way to lose 4 games this draft run. Like, I think we're going to go like 2 and 4. Like, somehow we'll just lose a game and it'll count as 2 losses. just a great curve. Great curve, good fixing. We'll just never have a turn 2 left-right ranger. Would have been nice to have a couple more 2s, I guess. But I still don't think I want to play Scaly Gruon. Would I really rather have like Scaly Gruon than Soul Collector? I doubt it. Although Scaly Gruon with an amulet sounds funny. And you can give it flying with Acolyte at least. Like, these Acolytes get a lot worse if you only have 4 2-drops. So maybe for like curve considerations, I'm supposed to cut a Soul Collector for a Scaly Gruon or a Frostkin for a Scaly Gruon, something like that. Also becomes a significantly better blocker because we have plagues. How many 4s am I playing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 4s. Yeah, going down to 5 4s isn't egregious. Acolyte, good targets are the Desperado, the 2 Rangers. Turn 3 Acolytes are going to be awkward, but we'll have other things to do on turn 3 a lot of the time. Just trying to figure... I just don't know. Like, I have no defensive units, so if I get on my back foot, it's hard to turn it back around. And that's kind of a concern. So I could see Scaly Gruon being useful or that Jotun Warrior being useful. Like, Soul Collector's nice if it sits around to collect souls, but I might not have time to do that. The way my deck's set up, I just don't have good blockers. I have no X3s anywhere other than my Frostkins on 4. But I have 4 of those. I'm going to make this swap. There are going to be a lot of games where Soul Collector will be better than Gruon, but I think it's just better to have the Gruon around. Just to be sure we can have time to not get run over. And it does make these Cobalt Acolytes slightly better if I can turn these into like a build-your-own Tower Top Patrol. I was just having 4 2-drops was a real concern. I mean, Twilight Raptor is essentially a 5th 2-drop. You don't play it on 1, but it was still a concern. I just wanted 1 more 2-drop for curve considerations on 17 power. There are going to be games where Gruon does nothing, but that's okay. I think if it buys us time, we'll still be happy with that. And I still think I'd rather play all of my other cards than Soul Collector. I really do like Soul Collector, though. Especially in a deck with this many units. Like, things are going to be dying. But I think it's the cut. I want the Bolt and the Blast and the Gust. And I want all my spells. I want my Beast Colors Amulet. Yep. Alright.